Santa Cruz Mountains, by definition nowadays, is on the ocean side, it's an elevation of above 400 feet. On the Santa Clara Valley and the bay side, it's an elevation above 800 feet. And to the north, it's Highway 92. In the south, it's Hecker Pass Highway. I wanted to show you a little bit about the trellis system that we have here. We have actually two different types, and the reason we have two types is because I made a mistake when I first planted this vineyard. I put the rows 10 feet apart. I should have planted them 8 feet apart. The trellis system has been here about 4 or 5 years, and the vineyard was planted 20 some odd years ago. So we have, on alternating rows, we have a single row, and then on the opposite, or alternating rows, we have a double row. And you can see it here that, for example, this row, if you look down, you can see all the canes are held by wires straight up, and it's a single row, and we call this a vertical trellis. The ones on either side are called a lyre system, and you'll see this is a dual or two rows. If you look down, you'll see there's a double row. For example, there's a row of canes up on each side with an opening in the middle. And the reason they call it a lyre is because the steel frame that holds the wires is the shape of an old-fashioned Roman lyre. Both trellis systems are for the purpose of holding the canes straight up. So we don't have any, what it used to be, we called the California sprawl, where canes just went up a little bit and then just flopped anywhere they want to. By keeping the canes and the leaves straight up, all the fruit is in this lower 8 to 10 inches above the cordon. The cordon is the arm that comes out of the trunk and stays. That's a permanent part, and the new canes every year come up out of the cordon. Now, this week we're going to start doing what we call leaf pulling. We're going to pull all these leaves off of here in the fruiting zone.
Oh, that's why we've been asked up here.
And that's right. That's right. We're going to start doing this, pulling all these leaves off of here and exposing the fruit. And the reason that we want the fruit exposed for several reasons. We'll do it on both sides. Now, one thing, powdery mildew is one of the biggest problems that we deal with here in growing grapes. So, to prevent powdery mildew, if we can take the leaves off and expose the fruit to the air and the sun, then we have less moisture and it's more difficult for mildew to grow.
And you're just going to go up to this trellis line?
Probably just to halfway up to this wire.
Oh, just
halfway,
right where the fruit's at.
Right in it, just where the fruit is, exactly. Is where what they call the fruiting zone. That's where we're going to take off the leaves and expose the fruit. Now, besides...
By hand or with a
yes,
machine?
by hand.
By hand.
Everything is done by hand here. Another reason to expose the fruit is that when we do spray, and we do have to spray, and you can see evidence here of some spray. You can see some on the leaf. There's little specks of white.
Sulfur spray?
Sulfur. That's exactly. That's
How often do you spray?
What's the purpose of spraying?
Okay, the sole purpose of spraying is to retard the growth of powdery mildew. That's the only reason we spray. And we spray a mixture of sulfur and copper and sometimes a little bit of lime. And it's all natural, the way that we buy it, and it's produced, so it's all certified for organic use. And this is sometimes called a Bordeaux mix, which is sulfur and copper, because that's what they've been using in Bordeaux, France, for this same reason. Now, the clone of Chardonnay that we have is called the Mount Eden clone, and it is famous for having very small bunches, and the berries are even smaller than average Chardonnay. And the reason that we picked the Mount Eden clone is because with those smaller berries, you get a greater surface to volume ratio. And the reason we want that is because the flavor comes from the skins of the grapes, and the color does also, especially in the red wines. And that's what we're really looking for here, is intensity of flavor.